Hello and welcome into Looking Up With Laird here on Sorare TV. I'm Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Joined as always by our resident experts, Harry Trades, Sam Tighe. Today to add 4 more names to our Looking Up With Laird Sorare Data watch list. Full disclosure, I forced Harry into one of them.
Oh, that explains it.
I've been bothering Harry and Sam for weeks about this one guy, and Sam was having none of it, and Harry is finally willing to let me have this one. So I didn't want to do any actual work to find out why this guy should be on the list, and probably should have taken the hint when Sam was like, no. But Mr. Trade's coming in with the help here. Harry, I'm just going to lead off with you so that we can get this guy out of the way, because I at least want to know why he shouldn't be on the list, even though we're now putting him on the list.
It's definitely no reason why he shouldn't be, if I'm being honest. He could have made it when we did Rudder a couple of weeks ago. And that is his Leeds partner, I guess, in crime at the moment, Crescencio Somerville, who, I mean, I first got to watch him, obviously, in the Prem, last season, I guess, when Leeds got relegated, unfortunately. But then over the summer, he played in that Netherlands under-21 team, which I was, you could tell that he was kind of just going to go there and be very good. He just played Premier League football, scoring some really important goals for Leeds in certain games. And, you could see glimpses, maybe not SO5-wise, but, the Prem for any sort of young player, if they're not, I don't know, name me somebody that's exceptionally good. It's not easy to score well on Sorare. It's just one of those things. And then, obviously, Leeds relegated, he stays, which is probably the most shocking thing. That's maybe why I kind of forgot about him in a way to do him on this show in that sense, because I assumed he would leave, if I'm being completely honest. He had a good summer with the Dutch side, even though they didn't do very well collectively. I thought he was like a standout. Him and Quinton Timber for me on that Dutch team were exceptional. And he's stayed, and it's taken him, I guess, a little while to sort of. I mean, we all want decisives as forwards. Like, what's the point buying a forward if they're not going to get decisives? Like, it doesn't matter how many. You can get 20 AA. Yeah, great, but we need to see the decisives. And okay, what's that? 4 in 7 games, 2 coming in that first game against my boys, which is great. Went on a bit of a dry patch, and then in the last couple, since Laird's jumped on, he's turned into the one to buy under 23 forward in the champ alongside his teammate Rudder. And the big thing for me, separating him from Rudder is he takes set pieces. I probably should have led with that, because that's something that, is just a staple for some of these shouts on the show. And yeah, I mean, he's just a very good winger for that championship level, I think. He's so small and agile. He's just different. And Leeds have a couple of those guys. Willie Gnotto's quite similar in that sense. Okay, doesn't have the set pieces, but I think Somerville has the sort of, as an SO5 under 23 forward. One more let's tick the boxes. Midweek, he's under 23 for a couple more years, takes set pieces, has great AA, and has, 2 decisives in 2. Can he sort of kick on now in the next 5-6 games and sort of continue that is what I'm looking at. And I think it'll happen. I don't know if it's going to happen every game, but he has the capabilities to do so, because Leeds are looking good now.
That's it. That's the whole thing. Honestly, I feel like I was just missing something, because all I saw was, and I didn't go deep into it, but it was, here's a player, he's under 23. He takes set pieces for arguably one of the strongest teams in his league that plays 150 games, including every midweek. And it was like, why is he not one of the biggest, one of the more important U23 forwards right now? And the conversation that we had previously was just what you mentioned. The decisives weren't really there. We talked about Rudder there, who, as you can see here, has loads of big chances created, loads of big chances missed, but he has some decisives. And then kind of that's what separated them. And then the question was kind of well, why not both of them? And now Somerville is starting to get these decisives. Sam, clearly there's something here that we're missing, no?
What? Why it's not my player? You said you said that I was saying no, no, no. Is that true?
It's not that it was no. It was just like, hey, what about Somerville? And you were like, there was nothing. That's what it was. It was nothing. And so it was kind of like,
how do you type that response that you just did? What's that in letters?
It's just blank. Yeah.
What's that? I don't know what I said.
I guess it was the lack of enthusiasm for a player like this. And I feel like usually in those situations, it's like, no, you're missing the fact that so-and-so is out. Like Daniel James is there. Maybe he will actually end up taking a bunch away from Somerville. And so maybe that was the reason. Like I said, I wasn't diving into this, but it just felt like everything that, and I'll push this more on Harry, but when we get an opportunity where you're like, here's a U23 player with set pieces, like that automatically gets on Harry's list. And then it's like, how do you move up the list? And it's like, oh, well, he's a forward. And it's like, well, that's how you move up. And oh, he's U23 until 2026. And I'm like, why have we not talked about this guy? Like, what is missing?
Well, you can put that on Harry for sure. I wasn't across the situation. But yeah, I'd imagine there would have been a bit of hesitancy early in the season based on some expectation to leave, as you said. And as we always say on this show, not everybody gets to leave, and over the back half of the window, they lost Jack Harrison and Luis Sinisterra. Earlier in the window, Brendan Aronson left. So there's 3 players. I know Aronson isn't a winger, but they did use him a bit on the right, actually, which used to wind me up a bit. So you lost 3 bodies there from your kind of like attacking midfield trident, your 3, that band on the pitch, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, it's just a lot of like, well, what's going to happen next? Who's next? Fortunately for Sinisterra, well, actually, yeah, no, still fortunate for him because he gets to play in the Premier League, although he hasn't been very good so far for Bournemouth. Fortunate for him, he got to go. Fortunately for Jack Harrison, he got to go, which leaves you with Somerville, which feels like the right way around, doesn't it? Because Somerville's the guy that came through. He's not Leeds born and bred. I think he was acquired as a very young player, but he came through the system from like 15 or 16. He played PL2. I watched him play for Leeds reserves a few times. He looked really, really good. Even under Bielsa, it was like, when is this guy going to get a crack? But Rafinha was blocking him. And then once Rafinha left, he started to work his way in. But obviously, once Rafinha had left, the whole place was on fire. Yeah. So it never quite felt right. And it never quite felt doable until obviously this huge drop in quality occurs. And here we are.
Well, here he is now on our watch list. Justice served. Yeah, no, I think I struggle to see why he's not more popular, I guess. Like looking at these similar players, here are literally 2 that we've spoken of on this show with Nico Williams and Dwight McNeil. Oh, and there's Pedro Neto, who we've talked about. Oh, and there's Van Brederode, who we've talked about. And there's Rudder, who we've talked about. Man, this is like we set it up. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I guess I just kind of expected more. And as you can see, I already sold mine, which
yeah, what the hell? I saw that as soon as you flashed it up. I was like, wait, and a green dot.
Yep.
So after basically demanding that Harry cover Somerville on this show for weeks, you finally do it, and it actually turns out you're already out of Somerville.
I'm already out, yeah. Yep. I will say, and this has nothing to do, well, it's about Rudder, actually, because I bought the 2 of them at the same time, like literally the same day. As you can see, I still have Rudder, and the price graph is moving in the wrong direction. The game week that I played the 2 of them, somebody contacted me and said, are you interested in selling Rudder? I'll pay 20% more than you paid. And I was like, he's in a lineup right now. I think I'm going to win it. I'm going to win the whole thing with him and Somerville. So I'll wait until after the game week. The game week comes to an end and he's like 30% less. And I was just like, do I even contact the guy and be like, are you still interested in paying for my card, even though you can get 18 of them for 50% off? Which is why there's no green dot on this page as well.
That's because obviously you're talking about a limited card here. I find it strange that somebody got in contact with you directly over a limited purchase. That's super rare behavior. There's how many of him? in limited?
750.
Yeah, it's not hard, is it, to get a Rudder?
So I
Jeez.
think I think what happened is when the game week locked, everyone who had one just exploded the floor. And so there were no like reasonable ones. So it was like going out and finding people who may want to sell.
Jeez.
And
Okay.
I would have taken 20% profit after the game week, but unfortunately it was 20% down for everybody else.
Yeah, that was your big one, wasn't it? The big Keenan, Dewsbury Hall double leads.
I think it failed though. I don't think I actually won anything with that lineup, if I remember correctly.
I'm pretty sure you were like third at one point.
With that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were flying at one point, weren't you? I remember that.
I finished 498th in.
Wow.
Oh,
that's not even me. That's not. Yeah, I don't think I won. Now you have me questioning it. I don't know.
You were like sixth. I remember you were very high at one point, but was Rudder in that lineup? Clearly not. Well,
yeah, it must not have been that one. Anyway, enough of that. Sam, do you have like an older non-set piece taking midfielder from Spain or something that we should add?
Defender. He's a defender. Yeah.
Did I get the rest right?
Yeah. You did. Yeah. Ruben Veal at Levante. I'm back on the second division BS boys. It's a fertile hunting ground for me. I love it there. And Veal has been someone I've liked for a while, mostly because he used to play for Granada. Not that he was any good at all for Granada, but hey, been on the radar ever since. Plays for Levante. He's just popped 100, which has pissed me off because, as Harry will attest to, if he's been on your list for a little while and you're just waiting for the right moment and then he pops 100, it's like, well, state the obvious. Of course, looking up for Ruben Veal, look at him. But, even without the decisive, that's a monster score. It's a 50 AA game, and I know that the opponent is absolute trash. But yeah, right from the word, I mean, he was at like 62 at half time. He was absolutely smashing it, and he's had a really nice 3 games in a row now after kind of dropping out of the lineup a little bit because it's been a bit of a ropey 2023 for him in the middle, at least as well. So if you take the year's graph, basically he gets injured. It's funny actually that game there, that just before the injury with the 80. So I bought him halfway through that game in rare. He limped off in the 77th minute. He missed the next 5 games. He plays for 7 minutes, re-aggravates the injury. Nice. Misses a whole bunch more. Sweet. Awesome. Missed another chunk. Got back for the playoffs. Obviously, they were very cruelly defeated by a 120th minute handball penalty, and they didn't go up. Then there was speculation, of course. Will he leave? Nope. He stuck around. It's been a bit of a sketchy start. Clearly that game where he the double decisive you don't want set him back a little bit. They do have some options in defense, but Veal is one of the better players for sure. Watching him for a couple of years, he's definitely a top player at this level. Looks like they're happy to rely on him again, and looks like he's worked out those difficult kinks and injuries and mistakes, and he's back on it. So if you sort of take the first 40% of that score chart there over that 1 year, that's where I see Ruben Veal, like not in the hundreds, but like, popping into the 70s, peaks quite nicely. Levante are a top team in this division. I think we're about to get back to that kind of service for Ruben Veal. And so again, as we always do, we link it back to the price and we say, for those scores, you'd pay a hell of a lot more than that for a player much more fashionable.
I can't even tell. Is that a jersey mint? No, I don't know why anybody would pay that much. But yeah, Florida, $1.58. Nice. That's lovely for the limited, 34 and change for the rare. What I noticed about this match that he had, where he had the 100, he was 1 interception away from a triple double. He only had a double double. But he has his duels here, but just 1 interception to go along with the 3-1 tackles. Need to get Opta Juan to fix that one for you so you can get even higher. But yeah, I actually, somebody brought this up to me the other day and was asking if La Liga 2, or what was it, Smart Bank players are actually the most undervalued on the entire platform because of their utility. And this happens after they just had they played over this international break. And it does seem like the goalkeepers are kind of popular because it kind of feels like nobody scores in this league. You see the score charts and it's just like all greens in the 60s to 70s for some of these guys. But obviously, if the clean sheets are happening, then the defenders are going to be good. And yeah, Vetso fits right into that for sure.
Yeah, they probably are the most undervalued. I mean, apart from maybe like Russia or like the actual forgotten leagues. You know, the teams, the players that no longer get minted anymore.
Yeah.
Those guys tend to be a bit cheaper. Obviously, the winter break having an effect on that too. But yeah, in terms of how many fixtures they play, and obviously that's a big thing for me, something I look out for and try to talk about a lot on the show because utility is king. Yeah, probably are. And also just because like, you know, no offense to them, but like no one really knows who these guys are. I mean, I do, but like, a lot of this is a popularity contest. Like,
for sure.
What would feel like the ideal looking up player right now would be Granada's Brian Zaragoza, who's just made the Spain squad after scoring 2 against Barcelona. Things are really looking up for Brian Zaragoza, but he's now way too expensive for what he is on this platform. So unfortunately, the logic doesn't really work like that. And I remember I used to play, FIFA Ultimate Team, and players that were getting transfer hype in real life were more expensive on the game, even though it doesn't change their rating. It doesn't matter how many people are talking. It doesn't change the fact that they're an 82, and yet somehow they've got up 30%. And that's just how this world works. It's, what's in front of you. What can you see? What can you recognize? And unfortunately for those guys down in the second division, no one really knows who they are. So that's why you find them as bargains.
And why we get you to talk about them on this show.
Yeah. I waste all my time watching second division Spanish football, so you don't have to.
I'm not even going to make a follow-up comment on that, at least during this show. Mr. Trades, who is your second player today?
So this player actually comes from a bit of a tip-off, to be honest, from somebody on Discord. I don't know whether to disclose their name, but they are a viewer. And yeah, he sort of gave me 2 names, and I've decided to use one of them in today's show. It is second division as well, but in Germany, we're going with Florian Klein. Bit of a mouthful, but defender from, I'm pretty sure they were a promoted team from last season, because I definitely didn't see that.
Yep.
Osnabrück in the league last year, but yeah, he moved from Stuttgart in 2021, I believe, on a free. He's only contracted till 2024, which is interesting with this team. But yeah, I mean, he's just a new player, so there's not many mints in that sense. So I'm just sort of highlighting that he is a player on the platform at this point. And you I don't know whether you're going to guess it, but he takes set pieces, Laird.
No way.
He's a
does
left
he?
back. Yeah,
Crazy.
left back that takes set pieces. Yeah, under 23. I mean, the first card, was there 6 rares that have gone? $40. Like, there's none on the market, I don't think, right now. Otherwise, I probably would have stolen one. I did steal one.
I was going to say, do you own this single super rare?
No. Well, actually, the guy who told me about the card does, to be fair. I own it, yeah. I found that out last night.
Right, who is it, Laird? Look up super. I just want to know. Don't tell us, Harry. Just let's.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's.
I don't know whether you know him. I know Laird knows him because of.
Oh, Bob. Bob loves his second divisions.
Bob loves his second divisions. So yeah, I mean, like, are there many left backs or defenders on Sorare under 23 that take set pieces and have the kind of pop in their score that this guy does over 9 games or whatever it is? But I'm not saying they're usable every game, because they're clearly not. But Jesus, you could do with a 90, 83, and 100 in your lineup, couldn't you? Every so often.
Sorry, I was just kind of seeing who they were playing in these matches.
It's good of him to get that zero in against Hanover to balance it all out.
It's really a -8.
Whoa.
So in fairness, like, he lost 28 points just from the goals conceded.
Yeah.
There we go.
Which, like, they count, obviously, including he was directly responsible for one of them. But that's like 5 positive AA points otherwise.
There's one game where you won 12 out of 12 duels. I don't know which game it is. It
That's
probably
crazy.
is one of the ones that he has a one of the higher scores in. Might
Let me
be the
guess
most
this one.
recent.
Paderborn, 46 AA.
Oh yeah, it
Jeez.
could be.
Wow.
No, that's
No, close.
9 of 11.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the Paderborn one. Apparently they only played with 9 players according to Sorare data.
The old 3-3-2.
Wow. That makes it all the more impressive.
To be fair, they are obviously that Osnabrück aren't a great team. I think they're second but bottom. Clearly, with that run of, I think what they lose 4 on the bounce, but they seem to have turned things around slightly. It might have been this game. No,
11 of
what's that?
13.
11. Yeah.
Well, in that case, mate, it might be a good thing he's only got 1 year left on the deal.
I know.
You get good use
Get
out
him
of
out
him
of
this
this tin
year,
pot club.
and
Yeah.
then get
Oh, yeah,
into
that's
a
what I was going to look
proper
up. Where are they right now?
Yeah, they're struggling.
Oof. 21.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess when you concede 7, you're going to get to 21 pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I just saw the price as far as the rare goes and the limited was like $3. Like, he's not going to be a staple in a team every week, clearly. But I think there's definitely a reason to potentially, keep an eye out for when his next mints come out because, yeah, I just don't think there's many defenders that take set pieces in the under 23 category, and that for that sort of price, I can't think of any off the top of my head, to be honest.
Yeah, we're having fun with this,
Decipher,
but this is
maybe.
clearly a very good card. Like,
I mean, yeah,
clearly.
my favorite
price,
is
I
that before this last auction, so of his first 5 cards, his jersey mint was the cheapest for all of those trying to get a VFL collection going. Well done to Gizaks. Now I have to see if they have a collection. Well, that's it.
Collection of 1.
It is the immediate 1% extra, though.
Yeah.
That'll help. I don't even know what to say about this other than, there's Harry. Oh, last night.
Yeah, for my road to glory, I had to. I saw there was a couple on the market, and I'm in need of defenders, Laird. I can't lie for that for that series. Poor old Jasper Darlin's been benched, and yeah, there's a lot of things ongoing there. So
I feel like this player Kleinhansel falls more into it's less looking up and more just like look at this guy. Like it's just one of these like forgotten, not even a forgotten player because he only has like a handful of cards. But that is like important to know about these guys that come out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, if you like Orange Fly here with his single super rare, nobody else has that card. And so whenever he plays it, those scores are only his. And yeah.
You just come up with our spin-off show there.
Spin-off show?
Look at this
guy. Look at this guy. I'm just saying. Anyway. Sam? Who are we finishing with today?
We're finishing with Angus Gunn. We're going to the goalkeepers.
How many is that now for us for goalies? Let's see.
I don't know. But
6.
I'm 100% responsible for them. So
yeah, 6 out of 6 out of 112 right now.
Yeah. I mean,
Why are we buying Angus Gunn?
I like that ratio. So Angus Gunn, didn't think I'd be sat here talking about this, but I don't know about you guys, but I am starting to move my brain into Euro mode. If I want to compete on Sorare, even at just a limited level over next summer outside of Asia and America, which is, let's face it, that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick a limited team in for a bit of fun. Then I need to figure out what I'm going to do in goal. And Angus Gunn is Scotland's starter. And you know what? I can't believe that graph. You'd think, wouldn't you, on the face of it, and this is mostly to do with the historic performance of Scotland, but you'd think, I've got Scotland's goalkeeper. Well, that's rubbish. Well, apparently it's not. Apparently that's absolutely fine. That's actually quite a
Mhm.
good place to be in. And I know that the Euros are very competitive. Obviously, it's harder than qualifying, but it's an expanded format. So there are more weaker teams in there. And Scotland have obviously taken advantage of that and got into it, but they're kind of flying. They've got something cooking, Scotland. And they're a horrible team to play against. They're like, of all of the sort of like, obviously like less talented on paper teams that England could face, like we have nightmares about playing Scotland because all they want to do is upset us, and they're damn good at it, to be frank. And I'd imagine that extends to a lot of other teams as well. Like, look how difficult they've been playing against Norway, who are obviously a very good team. They've got some amazing forwards, against Spain, who they've beaten and pissed Rodri off so much that he had to come out and whinge about it. Scotland are actually a pretty serviceable side heading into the Euros, and they'll be at least very difficult to play against. So I'd look at Angus Gunn there for sure. That he's going to be on my list for limited goalkeepers to have a little look at to play with next summer. And then of course the other thing is he plays 150 games a year for Norwich. In between international breaks, he plays in the Championship, and Norwich are 7th. So they're pretty good. They're not the best, clearly. They might end up in the playoffs. You might get 3 extra games. You never know. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend to you that this is an unbelievably cheap option that I found, because actually, grand scheme, looking at the price of rare goalkeepers, this is on the more expensive side. It really is. I mean, Turkey's starting goalkeeper, Shakir for Trabzonspor, is about 66% of the price of Angus Gunn, which sounds totally wrong. But of course, again, utility is the answer to that. It's the midweeks that you get to utilize. I like Angus Gunn. He's quite good. And he's Norwich royalty, that surname. I don't know if you know, Laird, but his father played for Norwich, more than 300 appearances, also played for Scotland. So the Guns are Norwich royalty. So he's pretty safe. I wouldn't worry about Angus Gunn going anywhere that he doesn't want to go. I think it's illegal in Norwich to bench a gun.
He is significantly younger than I thought he was.
Yeah. He started really early.
Did he? Because I'm shocked to see 27 there, and I would have guessed 34 for how long. I feel like when there are guys that I've known for a long time, surely they're old by now. And I guess not. I think we were talking about utility, and you mentioned 150 games, and he has international matches. There are 104 game weeks per year for us, and it feels like he could play 104 of them. Figure out, maybe they'll do a little loan in the summer in MLS just to get after the Euros to keep playing. But
you got to stay sharp. Oh,
of course.
Of course, yeah. He's kind of in that. So I was trying to do a bit of lateral thinking on it, because Gavin Bazun, he plays every time I load up my lineup builder. Gavin Bazun has got a game. Now, obviously, when it gets to the summer, he will not have a game because Ireland are not very good and they did not qualify. So that's the end of that. Bazunu gets a rest. But generally speaking, I was like, right, well, who else can I find in this kind of bracket? And Angus Gunn is going to the Euros, and he plays all the same games as Bazunu. So it didn't take me too far to get to the end of that lateral thinking squiggle. But yeah, Angus Gunn, lots of utility, and certainly a way in on Championship goalkeeper utility, and obviously Euros in the summer. I mean, I know that Bazunu is under 21, but he's still more expensive than Gunn by a fair margin.
Mm-hmm.
By a fair margin. And I marry it up, and I'm like, well, I'd quite like to play over the summer.
Gunn also just scores better.
Yeah, we're hoping that Gavin Bazunu takes a spot on Looking Up With Laird in the weeks to come, aren't we? We're hoping the corner is being turned.
Okay.
But we're not there yet.
No.
We are not there yet.
It was that Stoke match that we were like, oh, maybe this is back. Maybe.
Yeah. He should have got a clean sheet against Rotherham. That was a joke. So yeah, anyway, look, we're not here to talk about Gavin Bazunu. We're not; those wounds are still fresh; they're open. But Angus Gunn, I think I'm going to buy a limited ahead of, for the rest of the season, obviously, and ahead of the summer, because, and I'll just use it as a jumping off point to say to people that if you can find a deal that you need, like have a look at your gallery and have a look at what you want to do over the summer. If you're like me and you don't want to play America and Asia next summer, but you do want to have a little fun on Sorare, then the Euros is your opportunity. So where are the holes in your team and your squad? And if you can do something about that now, you'll feel a lot better. It'll feel a lot better doing it now than it will in end of May. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It does feel like the rare price is not in line with the limited price. Like you wouldn't expect
the
rares to be quite that expensive, but obviously he's not getting any new. Does he have new? I don't think they do.
Yeah. They I thought they.
Oh, they did.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So plenty more to come. It's our last auctions here. We have one going right now. 5 days ago. Yeah,
it's a steady high price. You know, we're
yeah.
going to hide from that for sure. I don't like the look of that at rare. I absolutely do not. But I'd certainly look at limited. I think that's much fairer.
Yeah, I agree. That's a significant difference.
Maybe that's one that calms down over the next 2 weeks or something like that. Just one of those weird artificial points.
Was there like a? Well, no, because we knew that they were.
Is it when Scotland beat Spain? Did it happen? I don't know.
I don't. When was that? Here we go. End of March.
Oh no, it wasn't then.
It was like. I think he ticked back up then, and then the crash down. I don't know. Yeah, I think the limited looks a lot more attractive. Just go buy 20 limiteds instead of the one rare, and you'll be fine.
That's how it works.
That's how it works. Exactly. Yeah. All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for that. As a reminder, if anyone wants these picks before the video goes live, just go on to Sorare Data and subscribe to the Looking Up with Laird on Sorare TV watch list. Looks like 309 of you already have done that. It's crazy to me that people would watch these videos after subscribing to Sorare TV and not watching this watch list so that you can, or favoriting this watch list so you can get these fine picks before everyone else does. But yeah, that's all we got. We'll see you guys next week. Sam, Harry, thank you for that, and good luck out there.